we go more into detail on what the hell is going on here, I mean, what is up with this girl? Let's take you back to the last episode where we were halfway through laying our reclaimed floors in the living room. So we'd finished this left side here and we had to move all the stuff on the right side over to the left side because there's just no room on this tiny little boat. So we were all set to go with the wooden floors on the second half of the narrowboat floor. Here we go on the left. These all still need to get nailed down. But guess what? In true Crobot fashion, we ran into a problem. So as you know, in the last episode, we didn't quite finish hammering the floor down. We've just remembered one vital, important thing. What's going on, Bex?
Return of the hatch, return of the hatch. That's what's going on. So very cleverly, we've basically almost just recreated the same problem as the previous owners of the boat had done, whereby they've just nailed all their floors down, completely forgot about an inspection hatch. We got carried away, painting our floorboards and stuff, and suddenly I was like, oh bugger, like I haven't actually put the hatch in. So I wanted to put one up at the top end of the boat here. So that's what we're doing today. So the first thing to do is to take the subfloor off, just so I can see where the supporting beams are, just so I know where I can cut out my hatch and it not just fall through to the bilges basically. So we're going to lift the subfloor first and have a little look. Let's hope there's nothing disastrous under there. Pray for us. Thankfully for us, they are how we left them last. So this is what I wanted to look at so that I knew where to position my cutout bit for the hatch basically. So I can use this, and then I think what I'm going to have to do is make an adjoining piece that will just be the support for that side of the hatch. Yeah. Does that make sense?
I don't even know if you really need one at the front end of the boat like this, but we're just doing it just because it's probably, you know, with what we were stung with when we bought the boat. But really, we'd probably never need to go in here because the water drifts to the back of the boat anyway. But, you know, one day you might just want to have a look and see what your bilges are like in the living room, I suppose. Plus there might be a leak. So you could have a sort of look, couldn't you? So
I've worked out whereabouts I want the hatch to be positioned. I want to make sure that it's not just right butted up into the corner, but there's a bit of a space around the outside because I think that'll look nicer. And so in order not to overly complicate things in the future, what I need to do is lay out the wooden floorboards as they will lay on the floor and try and make sure that I cut it in alignment with them so that the hatch will just nestle nicely in the floorboards as they sit, if that makes sense. So the edge of the hatch will sit just alongside this first board here, and then as I lay my other boards alongside it, I can see that I need it to end here. Otherwise it would mean having to cut like a weird chunk out of this floorboard here, and I just don't think that'd look very good. So now I just need to cut my supporting beams, fit them into place, and then try and mark up on the subfloor ply where I need to cut, which should be quite interesting, so bear with. So here's my cutout bits, obviously resting pretty badly because I can't hold everything to show you, but I'm just going to attach these, screw these in now, and that will be the sort of structure to support my hatch.
We also have our lovely new sparkly Calorifier turning up in this episode. Is it going to be sparkly? Probably not, but let's just hope it's not bent.
This is how all the professionals do it. So these two bits are nice and secured in now. Now I just need to attach my final piece here, and then we'll have our nice framework in place. So here's the frame. Now all I need to do is attach another piece here like this, because as you can see this line represents where the first floorboard comes out to, so I need to indent it a little bit. So it's a right old hodgepodge of stuff, but it's nice and sturdy, it's not going anywhere, so should be grand.
I mean, could you imagine if I attempted to make a hatch in the floor like this? Me and Bex have joked a little bit about saying we should do one each on the boat and just see which one turns out better and worse. I mean, I think we all know which one will turn out better, but it would be funny, wouldn't it?
I was just explaining how this is where our first board comes out to. So I'm trying to do it so that the edge of our hatch runs against the board naturally instead of me having to chop into a board, which I don't think would look very good. So this means I need to add an extra bit of bracing for the hatch bit to sit on. Woohoo! It's done, and it was a right biatch of a job, actually. My back is slightly crippled as a result, but anyway, here's what it looks like so far. So now I need to try and mark out on the subfloor where the hatch is going to be, which might also be quite tricky.
Exhaustion for one good little Crobot. She done well, didn't she, guys? We all know how well she done with the kitchen hat, so I'm really excited to see what she's going to do with this one. Day 2, and I don't quite know what Becca was playing at here. Some humiliation technique, I suppose. Do you hear that?
Yeah, what is it? What's going on?
So as a lot of you know, we've befriended a duck under the name of Sopran Ella, after the late great Tony Soprano. She hasn't been down for the last few weeks, has she? You haven't seen her.
No, I know.
We've got all this new food for them, all this new feed for them.
Weird, isn't it?
What's that thing?
Step on and off the boat again.
Are we squashing her or something? Either that or she's getting crushed.
It's really weird. You walk from here and just go up to the back of the boat again, see if it wiggling like makes the noise. It sounds a bit different though, don't you think?
That is that, isn't it?
I don't know. Back that way again.
We could just do this all day, couldn't we? I think it's got a...
So Chris, you've been punked.
Oh! Oh, is that not what it is? You cheated.
Every time you turned around and you're like, oh look, you heard it. You heard it.
So you've gone and bought that specially just to try and punk me. No wonder you're laughing so much. Get in. She made a complete mockery of my Sopran Ella duck obsession. I mean, the obsession's running pretty dry at the moment. She has not been around for weeks. Next up, Bex has got to cut a hole into a board for a hatch. Just going to do it like that, are you, on there? DIY with Bex. You love cutting things sort of without sort of setting it up right, don't you? Just sort of, I don't know what the term for that is, just sort of unconventional cutting. No. Like sort of letting it hover on something like that. Look. Yeah, we'll just start cutting into that. Okay, moment for Truffioni.
Return of the hatch. Let's see if when we put it back it rests on the framework that I've built for it.
Yeah. Have you got that side, yeah? You sort of wiggle it, haven't you?
I tell you what, I think you need to I tell you what, I think that's it. You're in. Ha.
There we go. Perfect, Bex. Drilly willy. Bit much now, isn't it? So now we've got the hole there, we can try and continue and finish the flooring in this room. With my best friend, the grab adhesive. We're drilling in first, and then Becca's best friend, the hammer. Some people in the comments have been calling me an idiot. What are you talking about? There's such an art to gluing. This is what a lot of people don't understand. They think it's all about the sort of measurements you do on it and lining them all up properly, but it's actually the hard bit is this.
I mean, it's really hard to get those wonky lines just right, you must admit.
Anyone got fed up and bored of the refit yet? 2 years in. Anyone out there who's watched us for 2 years? The slow process of the Whistling Wombat. I mean, at what point do you stop watching? At what point have you had enough? Because I have.
It's round 2.
You ready for it?
What's it gonna be?
Tankus wankus. I will get banned off YouTube, mate. This is getting...
And you wonder how it got bent in the first place as Chris forcibly tries to remove it from his boot.
I just wonder that when I looked at the last footage, sort of me lifting it up on my shoulder and stuff. And...
This is a little bit worrying.
You hear that? Oh yeah, well I saw this here, look. But
all we can do is open it and hope for the best.
got the big guns out now. I don't know, I don't understand these people that just have like 35 litre ones. Grow up. 55 litre twin. Ready?
Yeah, see, for one, this is double sheathed. It's got like an inner cardboard wrap around it.
Wow, we've got
instructions.
There's something up with that last one. The last one didn't come with any instructions at all whatsoever. This one's sheathed up to the eyeballs. It's got the proper thing on it and it's got instructions. I do wonder if that last one now may have already gone back once and then maybe shipped out again, because this time we've got the schematic and we've got instructions of sort of how to semi-set it up, which is what you would have thought. Last time it was nothing, wasn't it?
Yeah, nothing startlingly wrong. To the untrained eye, it looks pretty good to me. Woohoo!
Real.
Look at this tasty leaflet. Connection instructions. Yeah, like just to even tell you which each of these are for.
Yeah.
I mean, you can kind of figure it out, but you know, it's good to have an actual diagram.
Yeah.
I think you're right, maybe there was something a bit odd. So, someone on the comments, I apologise because I can't remember your name without checking, mentioned about it's worth checking if it's a 12 volt because it has an immersion heater, so there's also the option to charge it, flick on the electric and charge it that way. And so I thought, well, I'll have a look. But as one of our neighbours pointed out, the only thing is 12 volt, it'd probably take about 4 days to heat up because it wouldn't have the oomph. But also, to be honest, we're not really going to be using the immersion. The idea is to try capture the energy from the engine to heat our water as much as possible. So it's like free hot water then, isn't it?
Okay, let's get that hot water running. You know this is just going to sit about for a while, especially until Becca's dad comes up and helps us out with it, because I don't think...
Right, let's get it in and call my dad.
Yeah. So we'll get this away for another 2 years. We are not getting it away for another 2 years. We're doing it in the next few weeks. And we're also going to come back to Becca's lovely hatch. But first of all, guess what? Another Crobot problem.
So, it's come to our attention that there's a slight problem with the flooring and it's all been running really smoothly, and then suddenly we've kind of got them all lined up and we're gluing them down as we go along. We were looking and thinking, God, at the ends it looks like there's a much bigger gap from the wall than there is in the middle. So we're just going to investigate because we're wondering if the wall actually bows in the middle of the boat, and that might explain it. So that's 186.
So we go and do the middle of the living room. You should do this on the floor really, but again we'll have to move all this out of the way. So let's just see what comes out like this first before moving everything.
182. The theory is coming to life. Yeah, 186.
So it seems that the living room of the Narrowboat sort of bows in a little bit in the middle. So my special Chrissy Crobot analysis would indicate behind the carpet there's wooden boards and they're supported by sort of wooden block beams which run down here. I imagine a few of them are just bigger than others maybe, and it's not sort of pulling it in the right amount across the full living room.
And how this translates is that we're always going to have one wall of the boat where the floor lines up really nicely, but as you move over to the other side, suddenly you're going to have two like little wedges at either ends.
So you have these two little triangles on both ends of the living room, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But we could always correct that by just putting a couple of little cupboards sort of on the top or something. Just hide it with the sofa. Also, I want to apologise about the state of the living room. I know it's a restoration project, but there's no reason why there should be sort of creams and a toilet roll up there. We've got towels just here in the background. I mean, most people would probably tidy it up before shooting a vlog, but that's just the way it is here. We don't. We're messy. sand down a few more of them blimmin' things, and that led us to Becca's lovely little hatch. And guess who's been left in charge to cut the wood for the lovely little hatch?
I like it when Bex flies down because I know that's it.
Another new day and another new problem. All out of grab adhesion.
Not only are we just on a hunt for grab adhesive, Bex has informed me that she's also after something else.
I just want to peruse for something.
Anyone can do this if you live in the UK. You just find your local B&Q, you find the grab adhesion aisle and you grab.
Grab.
I think we're now looking at a belt sander for the living room floor.
So we're probably not going to buy one of these, we're a bit skint at the moment, but we are going to need one for the living room floor before we start painting it. The second half of the floor is nearly there. I mean, it feels good, this does. And then, like we say, we're going to sand it and we're going to paint it too. And guess who turned up to congratulate us? After 2 weeks of her absence, Sopran Ella had returned. It's weird, she keeps coming and going at the moment. I've even purchased the slightly better duck food. No? Okay, mate.
So I'm just having to take like a small nibble out of the side of this board. So where I've sort of situated the hatch, I think it'll just be a bit of a tight squeeze. So I'm just shaving off a little bit so that it doesn't stick. I'm just going to sand it off to dress it off a bit nicer. And then the hatch will sit in without like against that one.
She's something else, isn't she?
So I've just nibbled away a tiny bit here to allow for some breathing room really for the hatch. It's a bit annoying, like I had lined everything up perfectly so the edges of these two boards just ran perfectly, but I think as we've been fitting them things have moved just enough to throw it out by a tiny bit, so hopefully you can hardly notice that, to be honest. It's right in the corner anyway.
So this needs to be cut in half, so off she went to cut it in half.
What you are about to bear witness to, ladies and gentlemen, is Crobots 101. You're not really meant to cut through there, are you?
It's going to be a magic trick, like I'm going to just go all the way through and it's just going to magically go through the metal but not cut through it, you see. Actually, that might be better. Cutting anything with a jigsaw, it's probably not going to be like completely straight, but it should be good enough.
Let's have a look inside.
So this will sort of be the outside sort of edge. And I just need to cut the angles on these so they slide in nicely, but it'll be sort of like that. That's roughly what it will look like, just being kind of held into place at the minute.
And like that, the entire floor was finished. Well, kind of finished. It still needs sanding, it still needs painting, and it still needs skirting, and it also still needs Bex to finish off her lovely little hatch. So basically, we've just nailed it all down.
The proud mother.
So I've ordered another one of those little like ring pull things that sit flat. So when that arrives, it's just a case of embedding that in.
Oh yeah, like in the kitchen.
Yeah, and then they're not attached in properly at the minute, so they'll need gluing onto the bit of board underneath.
So a few people in the comments said, why aren't you cracking on with just doing the important jobs, just get the hot water going, just get the batteries going and get cruising. But we've actually been waiting for the calorifier, the hot water tank, to turn up. And, it's just a job we thought we might as well get done while we're at the marina then.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our Ferrari pine floor.
And obviously a couple of episodes ago we did do all under here as well. We've just got to get the skirting on there. It's a bit annoying really. We would have liked to have shown you the whole thing sort of finished off. Well, finished off-ish. But unfortunately we've got this horrendous, horrible, huge cabinets here that we're trying to get rid of at the moment, so we've got nowhere to put them. You know what it's like on a boat. So we've still got to coat the bottoms of these and put them into Becca's hatch and then work out what we're going to do about the skirting situation. I think there's a little idea of maybe putting a couple of cupboards sort of either side to sort of hide the fact that there's a bigger gap on both ends.
Yeah, so for anyone wondering what I'm badgering on about Ferrari pine, basically these floorboards have come from the pallet, like the shipping container pallets for Ferrari and Aston Martin. How
Oi,
cool
oi.
is that?
Crobot is getting posh, aren't we?
Ferrari lounge.
Awesome, so in the next episode hopefully we can clear out this room, get rid of those horrible little cupboards and start sanding down the floor, start painting it and get that lovely little hatch finished off. Cheers guys, see you in the next one.